In this video, we're going to talk about how to put together our Mystery Labyrinth. It's a BB maze, but in order to make it a little more challenging, you'll see that we've covered up some of the sections of the maze. So you'll get to see how it looks before it's been enclosed, and then you'll have an easy way to do it, and you can hide it from your friends. So let's take a quick look in this bag and see what's here. As always, I'm just going to use my scissors to open this. And we'll pull out the pieces. You're going to have two bags with parts in them that you want to hold on to. One of them is your screw bag, and you'll notice there's a bunch of screws in here. We'll talk about how those work. And a little bag with two BBs in it. Don't lose the BB bag, or you'll have a really hard time. Then we've got our bottom, as usual. And since you can see both sides of the bottom, you'll want to sand and decorate on both sides. And our maze. Now I'm going to put them both pretty side up when we put them in the maze. Figure out which side that line's on. There we go. Get our two maze sides lined up. You'll see that you can't very well much see that bottom layer. And then when we put it together, we're actually going to align it on the board, so that all the pieces line up like so. So if you want to, before you do your decorating, you can take a look at what the maze is and what you're actually going to see. If you wanted to do something fancy with colors, you're not going to see very much of the bottom layer at all, assuming you get it lined up perfectly when you put it together and when you glue it together. But you may want to think about a couple of coloring on it dark, just in case any of the edges aren't perfectly aligned for you. This piece is a piece of acrylic, so this is plastic that will end up getting set in and screwed in on the very top. Leave the paper on it till the very last. We'll talk about how to put that together. And finally, we have our cover to put over everything. And then this, of course, you should stand and decorate on. This is the piece that people will primarily see when they look at your maze. So knowing how the four layers go together before you decorate it will make a big deal. And then when we're ready, we're just going to drop in the maze, the acrylic like this. And that's all going to be see-through. So go ahead and have fun decorating. There's quite a lot of opportunity here in all of these little pieces. Be really careful with the maze pieces while you decorate them. They're really fragile this way. Once we screw them down, it should all be very strong. But if you were to pull on this too much, you could very easily break the maze pieces off. So be really gentle with it. If you want to make it a little more secure, you could take a couple of screws out and screw them down and decorate on it with it partially assembled, so you're sure it's not going to escape you while you're coloring on it. But just be really gentle with it while you put it together. And once you're all decorated, then come back to the video and we'll assemble it together. Now that you've got your maze all set up and ready to decorate and ready to build, let's go ahead and build it. So I'm going to open up the hardware box first. What you should have is 11 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 nuts, and then a separate bag with your BBs. So we can take your pieces, and we're going to start with the wood pieces. And as we looked at when we were looking at which pieces to build, make sure the side that does not say Steamy Tech is up. Make sure your two mazes are aligned properly. And then rotate them to make sure that all 11 screw holes line up properly. Once you've done that, you're going to do the same thing with this top piece. Now, I can tell you that this is the starting point for the maze. So we're going to put it over here. I'm going to go ahead and drop a BB in now into this opening corner. Now you could put both of them in if you want to. It's completely up to you. And this big blobby with this big gear on it is going to go there. And that should line up all of the screw holes to underneath. So once you've done that, you're going to put in one, I lied, I'm going to take that baby out for the moment, 2, and I'm going to line up all of the screws that go through the wood. There should be 6 of those. Come on, there you go. And put the nuts on those.
You want those to be tight on this one.
Yeah, this time we're not doing loose screws, we're doing tight screws. As always, you can do them one screw at a time and put the nuts in, or multiples. I just thought I would get them all started, and if I do it fast enough, I'll have a second to go back in and tighten them all down with a screwdriver too. Okay, that's all started. Let me take 1 second and make sure they're all nice and tight. We certainly don't want these coming apart. And now, we've got to drop our BB in. Like I said, this big chunk right here is the starting section, and we're ready to peel our acrylic. As you may know from working on other projects, acrylic and glue don't mix. So if you've got too much glue on your fingers, go wash your hands carefully. Be really careful when you peel the paper off that you don't get your fingers touch the acrylic. You certainly don't want fingerprints on it. Now, you don't have to peel the second side if you're sure that you're the right side up yet. But you probably at least want to get it started. And before you put the screws down, you're going to want to. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. Set it down in its hole. Give me a nice smooth way to peel it so I don't have to worry about getting fingerprints on it. As I go, and I'm going to leave this last piece on it for a second. So I've got one place I can hold the acrylic in while I put the nuts and screws on. Tighten that one in, and that'll hold the acrylic in so I'm not fighting with it. Do the same thing on this side. Be very, very careful with not touching the acrylic with that super glue fingers. Now you'll notice that I just used the screws to hold the maze together. You shouldn't need to glue it down or did anything super complicated. We're just gluing it together. You could optionally not put the screws in when you do it if you really felt like you were going to have to take the cover off to be able to play with the maze, but it's way more fun with the cover on it. It's way more satisfying to finish the maze with the cover on it just by having listened to it. And I have one more screw to put in.
And in case it wasn't obvious, the goal of the maze is to get from the starting area on the side all the way into the center, which is quite difficult.
And pull off my last little bit of paper on my acrylic, and I have a maze. Now I need to put feet on the bottom. And these are self-stick feet, but we always recommend putting your little drops of glue on and using the super glue to hold the feet on. They do have a tendency to come unstuck if you don't glue them on. Not sure why people think they're sticky on their feet is good enough without glue, but just a little bit of glue. Hold your feet on. Then once your feet are on, you're all done with your maze. And now you have a really fun maze to put in place. And you'll come to this section right here and start and go from there. Figure out how to go through the maze. Have fun. Enjoy your maze. Amaze your friends. Amuse your friends. Bye.